broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hi everyone, I'm here for another Spotlight On. I'm Ashley Daniels with, I love this girl. She is a sports broadcaster. She's worked for ESPN, Esquire, NBC, CBS, Lindsay McCormick.
Thank you.
I mean, doesn't look like the average sports broadcaster. Just gotta throw that out there. Not to say anything bad about, sports broadcast, but look at you. You are so beautiful. You could have definitely done modeling, but you were like, no. I'm gonna be that girl that talks about sports.
Exactly.
And gives you a run for your money.
Exactly.
So cool. So, okay, we go way back, Lindsay and I, but funny enough, I didn't know a lot of things about you because I just happened to like you for you and not really for all that, I mean, I don't necessarily always know the resumes of my friends. So it was cool to learn all the things about you that I didn't know.
What was something you didn't know?
I didn't know that your grandfather was your grandfather he did the football or something for the Redskins. He played football?
Yeah, he was a star defensive end in college for University of Illinois, and then got drafted by the Redskins.
See, you come from a long line of sports enthusiasts.
Fanatics, yeah.
Yes. Well, you are a fanatic, yeah, absolutely. But it's interesting because there are so many girls, I'm sure, that are intimidated to try to go into a field like this because there's so many men that are dominating it. There's few women, but I mean, when you do think about it, do you look back and say, wow, this was something that, I was really scared to do. I can't believe I did it. Or were you always just like, oh no, I'm doing it?
I didn't realize it was a possibility for a lot of my childhood, right. But I love sports, and I knew I wanted to be in broadcasting at age 6. My mom has pictures of me broadcasting to my stuffed animals.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
I think I posted it as my Throwback Thursday one time.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
But when I got older, there were maybe 2 women that were broadcasters, Suzy, Kolber, Linda Cohn, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I can do this. I know more about sports than a lot of my guy friends. Why am I not doing this? And I ended up on the sidelines in college because one of my guy friends who had the current position got sick, and I filled in for him, and then I would never let them take me off, and it just kind of, everything fell into place.
Okay, so I know that you were kind of a tomboy growing up, though, right?
Yes and no.
I feel like you were a little bit of a tomboy from some of the pictures you showed me. You were when you were really little, you kind of seemed, did your mom ever say no, Barbies? Was she trying to instill, did you ever go through a part where you were just you were just totally on this, you wanted to watch football and all your little friends wanted to go and play with teacups and
I think I had a perfect balance because I saw pictures where my dad would buy me Sports Center games and would take me out in the front yard and say, Lindsay, I'm not going to raise a sissy girl. You have to know how to throw a football the right way.
That's
and
awesome.
Would line my little fingers up, teach me how to throw a football. But then I was in dance from age 2 because my mom was really big into dance.
Okay.
And so that was how I kind of got out on my girly side was through dancing.
Okay.
Which is kind of a sport too.
It is. Yeah, you were 50-50 on both. You had the best of both worlds. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so your father too, is he did he work in sports as well, or is it just his grandfather?
No, he didn't. He actually is the only one really in the family that didn't go into sports. My brother did some marketing for NASCAR. My grandfather also worked for NASCAR. And my dad just was an avid fan. I think he played baseball growing up, but no, he was just a diehard fan.
So does he love sports though? Does he say, okay, so he's a huge, okay, so when you two watch a game together, is he at this point just so used to you being you're just so savvy in terms of sports, or is he still wowed by you?
It's funny because he and I were having a discussion on what we thought the top 10 defenses of all time in the NFL were, and he could name all those starting lines.
Really?
Yeah, it blew my mind. But then I'll come to him sometimes for questions, and he'll say, Lindsay, like you're getting to a point where you know more than me. But I don't think I'll ever know more than my dad. He's very knowledgeable about sports.
I think we have that in common. My dad, I've told you, but my dad is like insane with sports. I mean, that's what he works in. He works in sports, and he's just
you're from Boston too.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's just a genius. I don't understand anything he's ever saying. But I always wanted to picture a conversation between you and him. But that's real. Anyway, personal. Just could be so funny to watch. So going into college now, did you decide? At this point, were you like, okay, I definitely want to do journalism, I definitely want to do sports, or were you kind of were you teeter-tottering? Did you, because most people don't know for sure what they want to do going into college. It's kind of a risky
I knew I wanted
move.
to do journalism, so I majored in radio, TV, film, and then ended up switching to kind of make my focus PR as well, because I knew that would benefit me as well. But it was when I had that experience working for the campus news station that aired locally as well that I got to try out sideline reporting when my friend got sick that day. And I just realized, okay, I know more than all my guy friends. I know more than the people that are currently in this position. Why am I not on the sidelines? And he never took my press pass away from me from that moment on.
Oh my gosh. That was basically like your first real job.
Yeah, was right in college.
That's amazing. Now, you've booked so many jobs at this point now, knowing you for this long. And can you think back on how you started? Like, what was the first real opportunity that you had that really helped you, brought you from amateur in a sense to now, like, you're booking huge things. Yeah. I mean, Super Bowl you've worked with, you've done, you just worked at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You've ESPN Magazine. Yeah. I mean, you do it all.
I feel like each job kind of prepared me for the next and led into the next job. My first job, when I was working on the sidelines in college, ESPN saw me working, I joked with them, with the producers, I said, do you guys have a job opening? And he goes, well, we do have an internship, actually. So I started out as an intern for SportsCenter, and then they told me, like, there's no way anybody, not just myself, but anybody's going to go from intern to talent. And I thought in my mind, okay, watch me.
Right.
And then my demo reel from college I had put together, and it got passed around ESPN, and they brought me in to host some of their .com shows.
And did you ever go back to the person that said that to you?
I didn't, but I think he ended up coming to me later on and saying, like, I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. This has never been done before. And I mean, since then it's happened, but it was really cool.
It just comes so natural to you, though, just knowing about sports. Do you ever find a time that you're baffled by something, like a certain play, or do you ever find yourself having to, like, ask somebody, or do you actually know it all? Because I believe you do, but that's just because I know nothing, too, when it comes to sports.
I think that because I just enjoy watching the games so much, I absorb knowledge that way. One of my girlfriends that I worked with at ESPN, she was not as knowledgeable about NFL, and she came to me and she goes, how do you know all the stats that you know? And I said, because I sit there and I watch the games, and I do my homework beforehand, and I prep the night before of what's going to happen, so that when plays happen, I know, okay, this is what I kind of anticipated based on the film I had watched the week before. So I actually put in the time and effort to research so that I'm prepared when jobs come up and when I'm watching games. And so nothing really surprises me at this point.
Not even that play in the Super Bowl? Or the Patriots?
I just still don't know. It surprised me, the play call that Pete Carroll called. But sports have an element of surprise to them. You never know what's going to happen. Although they should have ran the ball. They should have used Marshawn Lynch.
I don't even know sports, and I thought that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. So, okay, you now going into what you're still looking. You're not like you're still auditioning once in a while. Obviously, now people really do approach you at this point. But when you do audition, so you were saying to prepare for an audition though, where it's like just come in and talk about sports. Yeah. You said you basically have to go. You go back and you watch things here and there. But really, at the end of the day, I mean, is there something that you have to do, or that you can give for advice that anybody that would want to prepare for an audition? Like, what would you do in the sports world? Like, other than watching old plays and stuff, is there any other defense, whatever the word is for sports? Like, what else do you do other than watching old sports?
I mean, I'm a very visual person, so I have to see the game. I have to watch the film because I want to see the plays in front of me because that's the way I retain information.
Okay.
But I guess just know the way you learn and can pick up information and find the best way that suits you.
So would they play something like in an audition? They'd say, okay, talk about what just happened. Is that how it usually goes?
No, they generally just bring you in and you're meeting with a group of people and you start talking about sports and they ask you your opinions on last week's game or last night's game or what did you think about this play call? And they can tell right away if you know your sports or you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just exude confidence when you talk about it too. I mean, you know exactly what you're talking about at all times and you're just excited. You're so enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
So it's like you could probably do this for free and like you wouldn't even care. You'd be like, whatever, I just love it.
Yeah.
So I mean, to find something you love that much, it's just amazing. It's just so gratifying just to be able to work in the field that you love.
Yeah.
You're very lucky, you're very blessed.
Thanks.
You also worked your ASS off for it. Okay, so I wanted to know if you had any advice for anybody that's looking to go into the same field as you, because it's not easy. And being a girl, I'm sure people are so scared just for the reasons that we talked about and just the fact that it's such a competitive industry.
Yeah.
So like 3 pieces of advice you could give.
Okay, 1, make sure you really, really love it because if you don't love it, it's going to break you down. 2, don't take things personally. You can't take remarks from other journalists or fans personally or else you're going to have a miserable life. And then always be prepared. Always watch the games. Always know the stats because one slip up, people expect you to be perfect all the time. And if you have one slip up, you mess up your credibility.
Those are really good pieces of advice. So that means that going into my next question, which is, have you had any, just in terms of working with men, has there ever been a time where you felt like someone said something to you and you had to kind of brush it off and say, you know what, I understand, like, I'm not going to let that get to me?
Yeah. Oh, every day.
So you take your own advice, obviously. But it's not easy.
No, not at all. I mean, there's some days where you want to cry, but then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to put my big girl panties on and I'm in a man's world, so you have to be tough. You can't show emotion. If you show emotion, the other men in the industry will think you're weak, and then they won't respect you.
But you did when you were on a bus, right?
I lived on the Sunday night football bus, yeah.
That was this past year, correct?
That was last season,
So what did you, tell everybody what you did and how many girls were with you?
I was the only female.
Okay. Amongst how many?
Several guys. We had our bus driver. We had guys that would join the crew based on a week by week basis. We had marketing people from NBC that would come. We had our fans of the week that would come, and it was fun. We traveled from city to city based on where the game was going to be played that weekend.
That's amazing.
It was fun. I learned how to make a dinner out of what you could find in the convenience store at midnight.
I mean, you probably had to take care of everybody, though, because you were the only girl.
Yes and no. I think the dynamic was cool because women just have a different vibe about them than men.
Yes.
So I think it was nice to have a little estrogen on the bus for the men and vice versa.
I'm sure they were very happy.
Although I was not the cleanest one on the bus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dante would be the one who would clean up after everybody. I was the one that would leave the soy milk out and it would run down the bus.
That is okay. So that's interesting. So, is there anything? What's the most surprising thing you've ever experienced, or the most shocking thing you've ever seen working in this field? I mean, amongst all these men, whether it's on that bus or any other time. Do you have any?
Oh, most shocking
that you can
thing
share.
Legally. I need to write a book. I need to write a book when I retire about all my memories working in the NFL and NBA. I don't know.
It's all right. I'll come back. We can come back to you on that. Yeah, it's probably legally. What can you talk about? What can you tell us? Well, okay, so let's go to something a little more PG. Or a little more G.
Okay.
All right. So you also do the national dog shows.
Yeah,
for Lifetime. You did it for.
Yeah, in January we had the AKC Eukanuba National Championship that I did the sideline reporting for.
So there was something shocking you experienced there that you could talk about.
mainly 2 dog shows. There's Westminster, and then there's the Eukanuba National Championship. But then there are a few other ones that dogs compete in order to get to the 2 big ones.
And before you say this, I want to ask you, why do you do this again? Like, in terms of, like, is it just because you love dogs, or is it, I mean, it's still kind of in the sports world, I guess, in a sense, right?
I mean, dog breeding and...
I mean, I'm not really sure, but, I mean...
I feel like it's the same audience, though, because the dog shows are either the day before the Super Bowl or the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So all your sports fans are getting ready for the Super Bowl. There's nothing really on TV yet, sports-wise.
Right.
You're like, oh, I'll tune into the dog show. So that's kind of how I
watch it, but I'm not a sports person, so... Okay.
I mean, I guess there's some people that consider it a sport, but my dad was really big into dog breeding. We had show dogs, but we never actually showed them.
Okay.
Because they failed obedience training a few times.
Okay.
So we couldn't show them, but...
That's all right. I'm sure... Well, did you fail obedience training?
I probably.
I think you did. We both did.
You were right
I think we both failed. But okay, but in terms of so I had to give a little preface to why you did this. But now this is shocking. So
okay,
what the heck? So you shared this with me. I'd like you to share with the world.
So after our competition, then it was Westminster Dog Show, and then after theirs, there was one other competition, and several of the dogs got poisoned, and I believe it was by a competitor, and one of the dogs that was a winner in our show died.
That's unbelievable.
That's intense.
That is so intense. How sick are people? This is like pageant moms gone crazy.
Yeah.
Like a whole nother level. I mean, I hope these people get caught. That is so sick and just it's just so sad, these poor dogs. But that's crazy shocking for you. I mean, you're there hosting and you're like, what?
Yeah, it didn't happen at our show, though. It happened at a show right after, but it was all the dogs that I had worked with.
Oh, my gosh.
Typically, it's the same dogs in every show, but... Yeah, I was really upset when I found out, because you kind of create a bond towards them. And
of course you do. That's terrible. These people are so sick.
I know.
So competitive. For what?
I know. Well, look at the Auburn-Alabama rivalry. Someone killed the Auburn trees.
Really?
Yeah, they poisoned them and they died. It was the 100-year-old trees. That was an Auburn tradition.
It's terrible. Mm-hmm. Do you think that have you ever experienced anything not as competitive as that, but like, do you sense any competitiveness in your field or in terms of the girls, or are they more like you guys all kind of help each other out?
I see both.
You see both, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When you get higher up, there's that competitive nature between women, and you can tell right away some women are not willing to help, or they act like they are, and then they're like, eh. But I feel like I've created a strong group of females in this industry that we support each other, we cheer each other on, and it's nice to have that. But there's always going to be that rivalry, especially when you notice you keep going up against the same women for every job.
Yep.
And then you'll see them at an event and say hi, and they'll just walk right by.
Yep. That'll do it.
But
do you have anybody that you have looked up to or who has mentored you or anything in terms of in sports world that's a female?
Yeah, Linda Cohn reached out to me when I was at ESPN, and then I see her at Super Bowls every year, and she was really, really sweet. Said, email me if you ever need any advice, anything. She's somebody that's been in the industry for forever that people respect a lot. Erin Andrews has had really encouraging words for me.
Really?
We worked the national championship game, the Auburn-Oregon game in 2010 in the media room together.
Oh my gosh.
And she came up to me at Super Bowl and was like, I watched this piece you did with the Blazers and thought it was phenomenal. I'm like, you watched my
said that?
piece?
That's so sweet.
It was really nice of her.
That is really sweet. Those are the moments you're like, you guys are stronger, girls are strong, people are stronger when we work together versus being competitive. I mean, you pitch each other for jobs that maybe you don't think you're right for, or whatever it is. I mean, there's no need to be catty and poison people.
Yeah, and I think the more confident women are, you can tell they're nicer to everybody.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, that's just human nature, of course. Anybody. I mean, how many girls have you seen in your life that have given you a mean look and you're just like, well, you just know they're insecure? Yeah. You know, you have to have a lot of confidence. And you do. That's this, especially in this field. I mean, there's never been a moment where I've seen a glimpse of, any self-doubt in you at all. You just know your worth and you know what you're capable of doing, and that's why you're successful.
I need to come on here every day.
You do, absolutely. We need to go through the traffic together. We did, didn't we? Okay, so now what are the brackets? Can you explain a little bit about the brackets? You said that.
Okay. So
you do the brackets?
March Madness, every year. This is a big thing in the sports world. So I'm sure the guys in your life will be making these brackets, and it's college basketball, and it's just single elimination. So if you lose, you're done. And you try to win in the end. You try to beat out as many teams as you possibly can. And
how you good at it? Have you won?
Have I won in terms of brackets? I came close to winning one year. This year, I'm stepping my game up because I'm going head-to-head with one of my with a guy in my life, and we'll see. I'm going to beat him.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe you are.
Yeah.
Do you ever do sports betting at all, or do you ever?
So I'm pretty sure it's illegal for me to bet on, say, NFL or NBA or sports that I cover.
Why? Because you've worked in the field, or because?
Well, yeah, because you have insider knowledge, and so you can't bet.
Really?
So, yeah.
Even just with friends, whatever. That's crazy.
Friendly bets. I mean, I'll say like I'll clean your clean your
not
dishes.
money, but just in terms of it just being like you believe like you have a feeling that this person's gonna win or whatever. This team's gonna win.
Yeah, I'll go head to head with some of my guy friends.
You
say
will?
I'll clean your house or do your dishes if my team wins or if my team loses.
I feel like most of the time you're right. I mean, every time I ask you who's going to win, you always are right.
I'm on a roll lately.
You are always on a roll whenever I ask you.
But in terms of going to Vegas and placing money, I can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
That's all right. I can, but no one wants to bet with me. All right. So now, who is your? I didn't even ask you this, but what is your favorite team in football?
So I grew up a huge Oilers fan, which is kind of cool because this weekend I'm going to Warren Moon's charity event.
Ooh.
So I'll get some time to talk with him. But they're no longer in existence. They became the Tennessee Titans, and I didn't follow them to Nashville. But
so that's still currently your favorite?
Well, they're no longer in existence. So I have my memories from my childhood
you said
watching
it was Oilers.
The Oilers.
Okay.
But now I'm honestly unbiased. I root for my fantasy team. I root for certain players. But I appreciate a good game.
What do you mean by fantasy? You do fantasy football and stuff?
Yeah, I do fantasy football.
I know somebody who won like a lot of money for that. Yeah, have you ever won anything for it?
I came in second to my own brother in one league.
All
and then second in the other league too. So I'm normally in 3 leagues.
You have to do that. Like, you have to be super, super savvy in terms of knowing all the players, right?
Well,
I mean,
it's a lot of work thing, right? Too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you could have a really great roster, but certain players on your roster don't have great games, and then you don't get as many points. Or what happened to me is I always had a really great roster, but the days that I would go head-to-head with the other guy that had a great roster, my team wouldn't play well, or Peyton Manning would have a bad game.
Oh, okay.
And they would outplay me. So it's luck of the draw, kind of.
So right now, you don't have a favorite football team?
No.
At all?
I'm unbiased. Well,
all
just because I have to cover it, and
yeah, that's true.
I just love it all.
What about basketball? Favorite basketball team?
I grew up a huge Rockets fan.
Okay.
And was there for the back-to-back championships.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, then I did sideline reporting and worked with Comcast SportsNet and the Trailblazers. So I guess I don't really have a team for
They're
them
a little bit
either.
in your heart because you work with them, I guess.
And the team I worked with. So those players in particular, I worked with every single day when I was with the Blazers. So I root for those guys individually.
Okay, so I was at a Celtics game. Lakers and Celtics played.
Yeah, that's a big rivalry.
A few weeks ago, but last time I went to the Celtics game, everybody that was there was like all the best players. This time it was, I mean, I'm a Bostonian, and I was like, oh my God, what happened to the Celtics? So I
think the Lakers fans are saying what happened to the Lakers
I was saying that about both.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I'm just wondering, what do you think about the Celtics? Do you think that their future is, because right now we really don't have like a lot of strong players, do you think that that's going to change in the next few years? I've been hearing rumors that we're going to get some really good players, or do you have any?
I think you're going to see a lot of change with some of the bigger named teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, teams that have kind of had a few off years. I mean, it's Boston. They can't stay down for long.
Right. That's true. Are you just saying that because I'm sitting next to you?
No, I'm serious. And then you see other teams that, like Golden State, who are the young, hot team that everybody's jumping on the bandwagon for, and the Cavs with Kevin Love now and LeBron James, and they seem to be America's favorite, but they still got to get it together, too.
Who do you think is the next superstar in football that hasn't really been discovered yet? Like maybe he's a rookie, or you just noticed him, or is there anybody that's really standing out to you that you're like, okay, a few years he's going to be?
I think, well, DeMarco Murray is already a superstar, but I just think he's going to continue to get even bigger and bigger. He's going to become the top back in the league eventually.
Really?
And I think the Cowboys are dumb for letting him go to the Eagles.
What about the guy from the Patriots, the one that was the rookie that he did the crazy play? I forget his name.
Oh, I mean, I think he has a strong future ahead of him too in the Super Bowl.
But yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I definitely do.
Cool. So I wanted to know before we're going to do a couple questions and stuff, but you are now, there are some things we can't talk about that you're working on.
Yeah.
But there is something that you can talk about, and this will be you just exclusively telling the world for the first time, correct?
Ooh, it is.
So do you want to tell them what's going on?
I filmed a movie this summer called The Bounce Back with Shamar Moore and Bill Bellamy, which I play a talk show host in that. But this was my second movie that came to me, and it's called Champions League 2. It came out in theaters last year, the first one did, and apparently it got better ratings than Captain America the one night it was in theaters. It's going to air in 800 theaters, and it'll come out April 2nd. It's called Champions League 2, and it's about the sport of cheerleading. So again, the sports tie, and I play the reporter in it. And
do you play yourself?
Yeah.
So what did I tell you? So I believe you made it in this industry when you get paid to play yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, but there's nothing greater that can happen. So that is so cool. Congratulations. That's amazing.
You.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
You're just constantly doing things. I mean, there's so many things that we can't talk about, but you're just on fire right now.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know either. You're amazing. That's obviously why. And we had a few questions. We wanted to pick one question that you had from Twitter that we were going to answer.
Oh, yeah. It was, so I had a fan tweet me when they found out I was coming on the show, and they said, what can the Niners do for next season to pull them out of this hole? And I don't really know what they can do, because they are literally just digging themselves more and more in a hole. I mean, they picked up Torrey Smith, which is a great addition, but now I hear rumors about maybe trading Colin Kaepernick, which would be dumb. So you hang on to Colin Kaepernick, you enjoy the addition of Torrey Smith, you bank on Vernon Davis again, and you just pray really hard, because now they have a new coach who hardly has, I think he has maybe one game of head coaching experience, and then also played in Europe, or also coached in Europe. So yeah, it's looking rough for over in the Bay Area.
Well, at least you were honest. That's cool. So what is your 10-year plan? Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Doing the same thing I'm doing now, but maybe more creativity is involved. So maybe being involved on both sides of the camera in terms of helping produce shows, but also hosting them as well. And I kind of want to reinvent the sports show, make it more entertaining. I mean, there are so many shows that are very informative that you see on ESPN, but it's shows like Sports Nation that are very rare and innovative and new and fresh, and all the fans gravitate towards because it is entertaining. I don't think sports should be all serious all the time. I think it should be fun to watch too. I mean, after all, it's a game.
Yeah. And then can there be a show for people that don't understand sports? That's
there
like me.
There can
for
be.
people like me, where they go step by step.
There should be. I don't know why there isn't yet.
I know, right?
Maybe I'll create that.
You should create that.
I'll take all my girlfriends with me to different games, and especially during preseasons, when I don't have to work as much as during the season when I can't take people with me, but I'll take a different girlfriend to each game, and I'll sit there with them. And basketball's a little bit easier, and they all get into the finals especially, but during football games, especially football preseason, I'll be sitting there with my friends, and I always bring a notepad because I take notes because I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
And they'll be sitting there like, what's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now? I'm like, I can't enjoy the game.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
But then I also try to educate them too, so that next time I bring them, they'll understand.
You're really good at it, though. You have taught me a lot. You
Thanks.
have. But it's probably ruined your entire time watching the show and watching the game. So it's a little bit.
I do want to rewatch it when I get home.
You have to, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, anything else you wanted to share about what you're doing, or anything that you wanted to promote or share?
I would just say the Champions League 2 out in theaters April 2nd. You guys should go check it out.
Yes.
It's a really inspiring movie, and it kind of has that female empowerment in it. And it's a cool. It shows that there's more to life than just the game of sports and cheerleading itself. It shows that there's great things that come from sports, such as a moral code kind of that you learn, and you can take away different things from sports than just the actual physical game that's being played. So
Sounds like a good message behind it.
Yeah. I love the message that it sends.
That's awesome. Where can people talk to you, like on social media, if they wanted to reach out to you? And
so my Twitter is LindsayM_sports, and my Instagram is Lindsay McCormick Sports, which is probably the longest Twitter name ever. I mean, Instagram name ever. Mm-hmm. And then
probably.
So those are the 2 places.
And your website's lindsaymccormick.com. Great, good times.
Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous. I want to have you back a million times with all the things you're going to be doing and all the things you are doing that we can't talk about, so we can promote those. But I'm so proud of you. You're just amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of you.
You're just so successful and awesome.
Cool.
It's a cool place. Cool place. And you can find me everywhere on Twitter at Ashley Daniels, Instagram, Miss Ashley Daniels, and yeah, we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.